Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing an anime series that I recently finished watching on Netflix. You can watch both seasons of the series on Netflix, and it has an HD upscale quality to it. It looks really nice, or you can buy it on DVD for about $30 a season. Rosario Vampire was originally created in manga form in 2004 and later adapted into the anime in 2008. Both versions of this series have 2 seasons, but the manga is still ongoing. Each season of the anime has about 12 or 13 episodes, so it won't take long at all to watch. Rosario Vampire is basically a harem based around this really lucky bastard, Tsukune Aono. Tsukune's father manages to get him into a very special school, however, neither of them know that it is actually a monster school in the demon world. So the unknowing Tsukune travels to the demon world and goes to this monster school. He bumps into one of the main characters that we'll see in the series, Mocha. He bumps into her on a bicycle and he finds out that she is actually a vampire. Later that day in school, Tsukune realizes that this is a monster school and he is the only human here. Some of the other monsters in school just want to eat humans, and the teachers allow all the monsters to eat humans and things like that. So he's really got to keep it a big secret that he's a human and not a monster. The monsters actually look just like humans, but they can transform into monsters. And they can't actually transform into monsters. It's a school rule that they're not supposed to show their monster form off to other people. So it's kind of a mystery. Who is what monster, and what powers does somebody have, and some of the plot can actually be centered around some of the monster's abilities. Like, we'll find that there's a succubus and she's placing a spell on certain people, or there's a witch and she's doing a particular thing, and we got to find out who the character is, and then you find them out, and then you fight the characters, and it's pretty interesting that way. In the first season of this series, we see many other women that Tsukune meets, and they all fall in love with him, and they all try and steal him away from Mocha and make him their own. However, it is really easy to see that Tsukune cares mostly for Mocha, but that doesn't really stop the other characters from trying to steal him away from her. Now, to me, the relationship between Mocha and Tsukune seemed a bit sappy at first. However, this became a running gag throughout the series, and it actually grew on me and became pretty funny. They will gaze into each other's eyes endlessly, and then they will get interrupted by some of the other characters that just want to butt in and have their own personal time with Tsukune. They'll use some of their abilities on Mocha. They'll freeze her and take Tsukune away, or drop a big bucket on her head, and they'll just interrupt the scene completely. And over time, it is pretty funny. This series has a lot of fan service with plenty of panty shots and isn't afraid to show nudity. For because of the nature of the series with the women who interrupt each other to be with Tsukune, it really prevents things from getting too hot and heavy. However, later on in the second season, things change and it becomes a more fan service and shows more nudity. However, because of the fan service within this series, I do not feel that the fan service drives this series. There are many other appealing aspects to the series, such as the characters. The characters vary in personality. While fighting against each other, we get to see them grow closer together and become more involved with Tsukune, but also become better friends with each other as well. However, this does not stop them from fighting with each other for Tsukune, and we'll get to see that throughout the entire series. Now, because of every character in this series being a monster except for Tsukune, this leads to some pretty interesting fights because everybody has different abilities, and we get to see Mocha, who is actually a sweet, innocent girl, but when you remove the rosary around her neck, she becomes this S-class monster vampire, and she can handle any enemy within seconds. We get to see plenty of other types of monsters fight each other as well, such as werewolves, witches, succubuses, and various other types of monsters. Now, because Tsukune is a human, he is a bit weak by comparison to all the other monsters, which leaves him a bit vulnerable and leaves him to be defended by all of his female companions. This really makes him seem weak by comparison, but over time, he does start to carry a bit of his weight more and more, and he does hold his own a bit in combat. He will fight against monsters even though he has no abilities, and he will, over time, eventually risk his life a few times to save his friends. I won't spoil the ending of the first season, but it is obvious that they do leave it open for a second season. The second season introduces one new character, which is Mocha's sister. I don't really care for this character, and I really feel that her presence in this series was just an afterthought. Her motive in this series is to steal away Mocha's rosary and bring back her true sister's form, the vampire form. This becomes one of the major plot points in the second season. However, I still feel that this character is just a nuisance character to get involved at the worst times and really mess up everybody's day. I don't really feel that her character is as deep as any of the other characters, we get to meet throughout the series. Having said that, the second season is still really enjoyable, and I do enjoy plenty of things about the second season. But I will say that I did enjoy season 2 more than season 1. I felt that it was a bit funnier. Now, I won't spoil the ending of season 2 for you either, but I will say that I did enjoy season 2 a bit more than season 1. There was one scene of the second season which I thought was really funny. Tsukune was at his home in the human world in the shower, and he was unaware that any of his other friends were coming to see him at his home. They all stalked him and followed him there, and they all popped up in his shower with him, some of them like halfway dressed, and of course he only had his boxers on, and they start fighting each other, chasing each other around his house. So he is chasing them to stop them, and they're chasing him to be with him because they're all like half naked and they want to have sex. So he's chasing them around the house, they're chasing him, and his mom's on the phone with his dad, and she sees all them run through his house, and he's like chasing after them in his boxers, and he's like, hurry up and come home, our son's a sex fiend. I thought that part was really funny. I really did enjoy the ending of this series. Even though the manga is still ongoing, I really feel that they found a proper way to wrap everything up and give you this feeling of a complete anime series, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but at the same time it was still something that I enjoyed. And on a side note, many of the fans of this series, which I talked to in the process of watching the series, really enjoy the manga, and they were actually what got me started on the manga. So I definitely recommend everybody out there to go check out this anime series. Go check out the manga to this series. You can actually get the first volume of the manga free on Viz's website, or if you have Netflix, then definitely check it out there. Now, if you've seen this series or read the manga to it, then let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.